Welcome back to the channel, guys. Another one of these failures from weak aftermarket crap quality parts. I'm going to explain it right now. Alright, so check this out. This is 4 years ago. Rear wheel cylinder. It did maybe a year and a half of being in the bus. And I don't know if you can see, but if you look inside it, all pitted. And of course it started leaking. Now, I don't think these were the German quality ones. And like I said, after about a year of it being in the bus, brand spanking new by the way, it failed, started leaking. So you can see there's the little pistons, and you can see the little O-ring. So obviously there's got moisture in the brake fluid, and it's pitted it, and it's leaking past and leaking. So I replaced it with this is 2 years ago, replaced it with a German quality one, which, you know, $160 or whatever they are. And this morning I walked in here and there's a massive pool of brake fluid pouring down the side of the wheel. Oh. So I've just cleaned it up. So it's obviously happened again. And by the way, it's only on this side. So I don't know if that's got something to do with the adjustment of the brake shoes. It is drum. IRS, by the way, this is on the rear of this. So it's a 68 bay window rear end. Now, I did have this up on the hoist a few weeks ago, and I noticed that this wheel was quite stiff to turn. And I thought, oh, that's the brake shoes need to be readjusted. So I did that, got it free spinning again, readjusted the handbrake. So I don't know whether that has something to do with the failure. Maybe they got hot, but anyway, we've got to get this thing off now and have a look at that German quality master wheel cylinder in there. One, see if we can repair it. Maybe, I don't know, I don't really feel like spending another $168 every 2 years. It's freaking ridiculous. So I've got to find out what's going on with it. In order to get this wheel off, it's a big job because of the airbags. You can't just jack this up and pull the wheel off. You've got to actually disassemble take the airbag off, or take the air out of it, so it's got to be off the ground, and drop the swing arm down in order to get the wheel off. So it's rather a big job. And this is why I've got ROCV Total Care too, because if I ever get a flat on the side of the road, it's coming home. You're not going to be able to replace the wheel on the side of the road on the rear of this thing. That's unfortunately the things we do for modified airbag lowered vehicles. So we're going to get this thing on the hoist today. I've got to watch my back because it's still pretty sore, but I'll go slow, get the ute out, get this up on, get the wheel off, get the cylinder out, and we'll have a look at it and see what is going on with this thing. Because like I said, I did go and buy the good German quality one, and it's leaking again. So all right, let's go and see what's going to happen. Okay, so we've got it off the ground. And what we have to do in order to drop this wheel low enough to get drop the suspension, I should say. I've deflated the bags. They shouldn't have any air in them at all, which they don't. And what we need to do is undo this bolt here, take the shock off, and then the swing arm can swing down, and then we can remove the wheel and then take the drum off. So what I have done already, you can see down there, I've got the long breaker bar. That was to undo this sucker because that's super tight. I think, what is it, 230 Newton meters of torque or something crazy like that. It's done up. So that's already loosened off, and the wheel nuts are loosened off just a little bit too. So we can get those off once we drop the wheel down. So next thing will be is I'll just use the other jack over there to hold it, because we don't want to just have it slammed down then we'll do some damage to the CV joints, which we don't want to do that. So yeah, I think we'll just get the shock off to start with, and then get the airbag off. Well, let's get cracking on that. Okay. So what we've got to do here is pop this onto that guy. Right about there. And then now we can take that bottom airbag mount off. And once we do that, then we can drop down the just make sure that that is holding it. Yep, that's pretty good. Right.
What are you doing?
I'm dropping the wheel down now. So out of the way. Yes, watch out. Stay there. Watch the wheel. Watch there.
Is that the airbag?
No, I've actually undone the airbag.
So what is the airbag?
Hmm?
What is the airbag?
Where's the airbag?
Yeah.
Underneath the car. Now, is that going to come out? Maybe a little bit more. Let's have a look at that. Oh no, we'll get that out. Come down a bit lower. Ta-da. Okay, that's the wheel off. I might just check this back up again. Ooh. Nice and leaky. So, I wonder what's happened. And that looks like it's been leaking for a while too. Not good. Let's grab that torch here, have a bit of a better look. You can see here, oh yeah, something's been going on. And I've got a feeling this is, yeah, there seems to be some shavings. Look at all those little tiny shavings just there. Look at that. So I don't know. We're going to give this all a bit of a clean up and have a look, but there's definitely something not right going on here. And I've got a feeling it could be the little winders down here. There's a clip. Oh no, there is a clip on both of those, so they shouldn't be winding out. We'll find out. All right. Alright, the offending article. Let's go and pop this up on the table and see what's wrong with it. I'm pretty sure that this one was one of the good quality German Let me grab a wire brush and we're going to just double check this. Take these nipples off, because I've got a feeling someone can tell me. Just going to read what it says. FTES something something and then 22 down the bottom. So yeah, I reckon that is one of the good ones. See if you can pop these guys out. There we go. That's one out. Doesn't look too bad. Let's get a clean rag here and give this a bit of a look at. A little bit of a deposit just down the bottom on there, but I don't think that's the culprit. Let's pop him aside. Now we want to keep these just, yeah, it looks like a little bit of discoloration on that piston, but nothing, and the O-ring seal around it looks pretty good, so I reckon he's okay. I think it could be this other side. Now, yeah, I can see. I'm not sure if the camera will pick that up. Hang on, let me just grab a light. You can just see inside there's a little bit of discoloration where it's been sitting, so I reckon that could be the culprit. We'll pop the other side of the piston out and see what the other side looks like. And in order to do that, I should be able to just pop, here we go, just pop it straight out. Huh, okay, well, let's just clean this guy up quickly. I'm not seeing anything really bad here. Not as bad as the other one. This has got a bit of surface rust on that, so that can be cleaned up with a bit of 3000 grit, but the O-ring itself looks in pretty good nick, so we might have actually caught this. I'm looking inside the bore. Really, it's that little spot right there. So let's see, we're going to try and give this a bit of a hone and see if we can fix it. I'm not holding my breath, to tell you the truth, because I have not had a lot of luck with these guys, and I think normally once they go, they just don't seal anymore, but you never know. We can always try. I don't have to put all the wheel back on again. I can just pressurize the system and go from there. All right, so I gave it a little bit of sanding just inside with some really fine wet and dry, and you can actually see what's happened. So the orientation of this thing when it's in the bus is like so, like that. So what's happening is moisture settles, sorry, that way. Moisture settles in at the bottom of the drum, and you can actually look, if I put it up to the light, you can see inside the pits. There's two distinct little lines in there, one on this side, one on the other side, and that's right where each of the pistons sit. And if you look really carefully, you can see it's actually eaten the metal away, and that's where it's leaking from. So this is junk as well. The one I put in 2 years ago was this one here. You can see how bad that is. That was just really, really, really bad. Eaten away, both sides. So I don't know, they're obviously using bubble gum as steel, because it's, you know, it's ridiculous. You think about these original V-dub parts that would have been in this thing, and they would have been going for 15 years before they would have ever, you know, needed changing. Now, everyone is probably going to say, oh, the brake fluid, you didn't change your brake fluid, and that you got moisture in the line, blah, blah, blah. The car's only been on the road for 6 years, and I changed it. I changed the brake fluid maybe 3.5 years in. So I just don't, I reckon it's just the metal. it's just junk. So I'm going to have to order another one. I don't think I can fix this. So righto, so we've got a new wheel cylinder. We'll get this installed. So what I've decided to do is, actually, after talking to a couple of people, and this being a moisture issue, because the vehicle's not driven often enough, I've decided to swap over to a silicon .5 brake fluid instead. It just means it's not going to give me this issue of you know, corrosion and that sort of problem. So what I'm going to do, I've already flushed the system about 7 times, because you don't want to have any residual brake fluid in there, because it'll curdle with the silicon stuff. So flushed it through with some brake clean and blown all the airs out, blown all the lines out with compressed air, and left it for quite a few days too. So I'm actually still waiting for the silicon brake fluid to turn up. But what we will do now is just install the cylinder back in, get this all nipped up, and once the brake fluid comes, we can re-bleed the system and hopefully call this done for a while. It would be good. But while we've got the wheel off, we can actually have a bit of a look in here at how I set up how the airbag's set up. You can see there, it obviously sits on this plate here, and you can see my custom bump stop up the top there. You can also see the sensor, the ride height sensor, which is this little arm here, and that just articulates up and down off the side of the spring plate. Anyway, all right, well, that's done. Let's get crack-lacking, and we'll put this sucker all back together. Righto, we have the wheel back on, and we're ready to bleed this system with the .5 brake fluid. So as you can see up there, I've just got the my little trusty vacuum pump to pump the fluid through, starting with the rear furthest away from the master cylinder, and obviously it's a right-hand drive car, so it's passenger rear. We start with that one first, then we move on to driver side, and then passenger front, and then driver side front. So that's how we bleed the system. So yeah, we've got this that little nipple up the top there open, all the others are closed, and we are going to start the procedure. So first thing we've got to do now is get into the reservoir. Now there's our fluid, so that's what we're using first off the bat, and we're going to go in and probably have to put this down. Yeah, we will, because we're too high up to get inside it, and I'll show you where I've actually put the, just got to get this lift down here. It's coming down. Should be enough. So, see if we've got enough room on this side. We might not. Okay. You're a bit tight here, aren't we? So, interesting fact in here. As you would normally know on a splitty, you take off this guy, and that's normally where your reservoir is. And as you can see, there isn't one there. You can see the clutch reservoir is over there, but the brake one I had to put in here. And reason for that was your fluid level or fluid container has to be at the highest point of the vehicle for air bubble entrapment. And when I originally first got this bus on the road, I had it in the stock location down there. And of course, when you dumped all the air out of the bags, the vehicle, the bus would actually drop down to or close to the ground. The brake fluid reservoir was actually lower than the rest of the line, so you could never bleed the system properly, and it would introduce air back into it, which is it was a weird thing. So this has to be at the highest point all the time, so I had to reroute the lines into that spot, and for it to work. So, you know, this is one of those things when you're custom doing vehicles, the snowball effect just goes on and on and on and on, and you don't think it does, but you know, this was one of those incidences where we just couldn't get all the air out of the system when we were bleeding it. We were like, what's going wrong? You know, what is, and we worked out that was the problem, so had to relocate it and go from there. So anyway, we're going to put some of this fluid into here. Now I've got a little reservoir bottle over there that we can just put that into and then stick it in there and go from there. Oh, that's another thing. You can see my little switch down there. That's the micro switch, which activates the handbrake, and that tells the ECU that we're in handbrake mode, so that the airbags don't, you know, you can't basically be driving along and dump the thing onto the ground. You know, I know the guys in America can do that, but man, you do that here in Australia and you're going to jail. Well, probably not going to jail, but you know what I mean. Like, it's, yeah, the cops, you definitely don't want to be doing that sort of stuff in front of the police, that's for sure. Yeah, nanny state. Anyway, let's get this stuff. We'll go and clean this bottle out because it might still have a bit of brake fluid in it actually. So yeah, we'll do that. There you go. So you can see the silicone brake fluid is a purple colour. That's the .5, and that's my little dispenser bottle, which is filling up the rear reservoir, or the front reservoir I should say, and then it'll spill over into the rear reservoir and then level itself out. So that just ensures that when I'm bleeding the brakes, I don't get any air into the system, because it'll just keep topping up without you having to run back and keep putting more fluid in the reservoir. So we'll let that do its thing. It's slowly filling itself up, and then we can jump under the car and start getting this fluid through the veins. All right, guys. So we've after a little bit of some issues with the bleeding, I think I just had I think because the whole system was completely drained, I had a lot of air in the master cylinder, and so I had to bleed that, and then start up the car, or the bus, start up the bus, and you know, pump the pedal to get the vacuum to work. And anyway, it's all done now. Yeah, we've got a nice firm pedal, and hopefully this is the last time I have to deal with this brake issue. You know, it's pretty much two of those wheel cylinders that are kaput. So yeah, you know, they can go in the bin as well. That's another one. Anyway, she's all done. I'm going to take her out for a drive. It's got a bit of little bit of blue powder on it from the powder coating, but that's all right. It's only dust, so go and give it a spin, and yeah, happy days. We'll see you guys in the next video. And yeah, the orange one's off, and I've got to do a bit of a clean up, just get all this stuff out of here, and then we have a new project coming, and it's going to be cool. So we'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.